like online, because that's really what it is. It's the photographs and stuff come through the feed.
Right.
And I was like, what? Like, because she had like
Because she did put it out
stuck
there.
under the bed, like the booty's up in the air with her head stuck under the bed.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the
Hell
consequences
yeah. I
when you
mean,
said no?
Puppy invited me for weeks asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to. That's what my assistant said. I was like, oh.
You are not going to believe what's just blown up online. Terrence Howard. He's come out with some really serious accusations.
Yeah, aimed squarely at Diddy and YungMiami. Right?
Exactly. And this isn't just, typical celebrity gossip. We're talking about claims that could genuinely shake things up big time.
It's pretty wild. And what's really interesting is how Howard's story, well, it sort of connects with some things already swirling around Diddy, adds another whole layer to it all.
It does. It makes you wonder what's really going on behind the curtain in Hollywood, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The dynamics there, the power play.
And then you throw 50 Cent into the mix. He was quiet at first, like no comment.
Right, initially.
But now he's all over the place, hinting, teasing, saying he might have video.
Oh yeah, the cut in 4K stuff. Knowing the history between him and Diddy.
You just know he's loving this. He's watching every second. This feels like it could get much bigger than just talk.
Well, if you think about the timing, Howard's claims land while Diddy's already facing legal issues and a ton of scrutiny. So 50 Cent potentially dropping video evidence.
Yeah.
That just throws gasoline on the fire.
Makes everything way more unpredictable.
Okay, so let's actually dig into what Terrence Howard is saying.
Yeah.
He claims he was basically blackballed, pushed out.
For refusing to play along.
Yeah.
With what he called shady games.
Yeah. And the story he tells about Diddy inviting him over, it sounds off, not like a normal meeting.
He said Diddy wanted him as an acting coach. Is that right?
That was the pretext, yeah. But Howard gets there and he says Diddy's just like playing music, weird vibe.
And didn't Howard's assistant say something?
Yeah. His assistant apparently felt Diddy was making unwanted advances towards him, towards the assistant.
Wow. Okay. That really speaks to potential power imbalances,
Yeah.
Using a professional setup for something else.
Definitely. And if you say no, maybe there are consequences. That assistant's take really highlights how uncomfortable and weird that whole situation must have felt.
Yeah, the ambiguity there is unsettling. And it gets more intense. Howard claims that pretty much any man who went to Diddy's parties, well, they experienced something that made them lose their man cards. That's his phrase.
Lose their man cards.
Yeah.
Quite a statement.
He's painting a picture of really compromising, deeply uncomfortable situations happening at these parties. Makes you think about the kind of pressures in those circles.
And it's interesting how he frames it specifically around masculinity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like his phrasing suggests maybe there was pressure to act a certain way, to fit in, even if it meant compromising yourself.
Well, and this ties into stuff Howard's been saying for a while, actually. It's not totally out of the blue for him.
Right. He's talked before about being sidelined.
For years. Said he wouldn't follow the industry's twisted rule book. He even specifically mentioned being pushed, like repeatedly, to wear a dress in roles.
When it didn't even make sense for the character or the story, he said.
Exactly. He saw it as them trying to undermine his manhood. And he thinks refusing that is part of why he got pushed out of acting roles. So there's a pattern to his perspective.
That consistency over time, talking about these kinds of pressures, it does add a certain context maybe to his current claims about shady games now.
Yeah, it fits his narrative. And get this quote from him about his father's advice.
Oh, yeah?
He said his dad taught him, "Never take the vertebrae out your back or the base out your throat. I ain't raised no sheep, I raised men. Stay a man."
Wow. Strong words.
And Howard himself added, being a man comes with a curse now because the society ain't built for real men anymore. He seems to genuinely believe there's this, secret push to strip masculinity away from strong black men.
So he sees it as a threat, authentic strength being targeted.
Yeah, it's a very specific worldview he's putting out there.
That's more than just personal complaints, then. It's like a cultural critique wrapped up in his allegations. He's talking about broader trends, how he sees masculinity being devalued, especially for black men in entertainment. That quote from his father really grounds his whole stance and personal values.
But here's where YungMiami gets pulled right into the thick of it, big time.
Yeah.
Howard accuses her directly of helping Diddy, specifically moving and transporting substances.
Whoa, okay. That's serious.
And he goes further. He says he personally saw something incriminating she did on camera. At one of these parties, he called a freak-off.
On camera, I mean, that implies evidence exists somewhere that definitely escalates things, directly implicating her in potentially illegal stuff. These freak-offs, as he calls them, sound like pretty questionable events.
You think? And the drama keeps going. Remember Gina Hune posted that photo with Diddy a while back?
Vaguely, yeah.
Well, apparently, YungMiami's reaction was intense. There are reports of alleged threatening messages she sent.
Threatening? Like what?
Calling Gina an eater, supposedly, and saying really aggressive things like, if I wanted you to eat me, Diddy would have had you on your knees.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds possessive.
Yeah.
And the language is pretty harsh, gives you a peek into the tensions maybe simmering in Diddy's circle.
For sure. Then shift gears to the Jane Doe lawsuit. The woman identified in reports as Korea Brownlee.
Who is alleged to be YungMiami, right?
Right. She's accused of some really disturbing stuff in that lawsuit. It claims she harassed the Jane Doe plaintiff after she got pregnant with Diddy's child.
Harassed her how?
Allegedly pressured her towards having a miscarriage. The lawsuit even says Jane Doe was coerced into taking unknown drugs or substances at Diddy's mansion.
That's incredibly dark.
Yeah.
Harassment, coercion, pressuring someone about a pregnancy.
Right.
These are extremely serious allegations. Heavy legal implications there.
Absolutely. And just when you think it can't get messier, Lil Rod's lawsuit drops even more bombshells.
Okay, what's in that one involving her?
Well, first, he claims YungMiami was basically a silent witness to a lot of sketchy activities at Diddy's parties, just being there, seeing
A
things.
silent witness. Okay.
But then it gets more direct. He alleges that YungMiami's cousin actually groped and performed an unwanted act on Lil Rod's associate.
Seriously, while Diddy was there.
That's the allegation. Diddy present. And then there's another claim about drugs. Lil Rod says Diddy offered him cocaine.
Okay.
But Lil Rod refused, and then Diddy allegedly did the cocaine with YungMiami instead.
Wow. Okay, so Lil Rod's suit broadens things out quite a bit for her. Presence, associates with alleged actions, direct involvement with drugs.
Yeah, it paints a picture of her being potentially much more involved.
And wasn't there something else in Lil Rod's suit? About payments?
Yes, good catch. He claims YungMiami and other women too, like Jade and Daphne Joy, were getting paid a monthly fee from Diddy.
Paid for what?
The lawsuit calls them private entertainers, which, sounds kind of vague, but suggests some kind of specific arrangement.
A monthly retainer as private entertainers. That definitely raises questions about the nature of those relationships, the expectations, the financial side. Adds to that whole narrative of potentially weird power dynamics.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's loop back to 50 Cent.
Mr. Cotton 4K.
Exactly. After playing it cool initially, now he's all over social media, basically waving this idea around that he has video proof.
And specifically mentioning YungMiami being caught on camera at one of these freak-offs,
That's
right?
what he's implying, yeah. Now, obviously, given his long, very public beef with Diddy...
He's hardly an unbiased source, let's be real.
Not at all. But if he actually has footage like that, that could change everything. It could be a massive turning point. It definitely adds, a whole layer of drama.
Oh, completely. 50's involvement makes this whole thing so much more volatile. He'd love to drop something damaging on Diddy.
Totally.
Whether the video's real, what it shows, who knows. But just the threat of it, the possibility, it seriously ramps up the pressure, adds a whole other dimension.
So when you try and piece it all together, you've got Terrence Howard coming out with these really explosive claims. And they seem to kind of echo or align with allegations coming from different places, like these lawsuits.
Right, from different people, different legal filings, but touching on similar themes.
It really feels like the heat is turning up on Diddy. Fast. Like, regardless of what's ultimately proven true or not true.
Yeah.
The sheer amount of smoke here, and the fact that some stories seem to overlap from different accusers, it's hard to just dismiss. It suggests, at the very least, a pattern of some really concerning allegations.
That convergence is notable. Howard's story hitting alongside these legal claims. It does paint a troubling picture. And obviously we have to stress these are allegations, nothing proven in court yet.
Absolutely. Innocent until proven guilty.
But the consistency across some of these accounts, it definitely warrants serious attention. It really puts Diddy's past behavior and the whole environment he allegedly fostered under intense scrutiny.
Yeah, no doubt. Terrence Howard really lobbed a grenade into this whole thing. YungMiami is facing some incredibly serious accusations, way beyond just, being Diddy's associate.
Deeply implicated in these legal filings.
And then 50 Cent is lurking, hinting he has the receipts, maybe the smoking gun video. It feels significant. Like this could be a real moment of reckoning, maybe.
It could be. I mean, the range of allegations is staggering. Sexual misconduct, drugs, coercion, harassment, obstruction, exploitation. It's a potentially devastating combination if proven true.
And it puts the entertainment industry back under that microscope, doesn't it?
Once again, yeah. Questions about power, abuse, what gets tolerated or covered up behind closed doors, these themes keep coming up.
So thinking about all this, Howard's direct claims, YungMiami's alleged deep involvement detailed in these lawsuits, 50 Cent's potential bombshell. What does it make you think about the power dynamics, the alleged behaviors happening off camera in that world?